What's up, everybody? D-Man back. Welcome to a brand new video, and today we're going to be doing another Godzilla Vs Kong news and updates. This was actually supposed to be the back half of the either last or next Godzilla vs Kong news and updates. I don't entirely know how I'm going to upload these, but I figured I'd snip this one in half because this wound up being enough to make its own video, and I know you guys don't really like sitting through 20-minute videos. So here you go. Here's a non-20-minute video. Also, I thought this news is kind of important enough to warrant its own video separate from all the other stuff so you guys could just hear all the big stuff happening at once. Either way, hope you enjoy. So I've got some bad news for you guys, and it is bad news. Black Widow has moved to May 7th, 2021, placing it 2 weeks before Godzilla vs Kong. And then Fast and Furious 9, aka Fast 9, moved to May 28th, 2021, 1 week after Godzilla vs Kong. Guys, I know there's going to be a lot of complaining here. I would urge you to go do research on how the movie industry works on your own, because I've tried to explain in the past and people still just don't really listen to what I'm saying. We're living in a global pandemic, okay? Everything is in a terrible situation. The movie industry is in the dumps. Movie theaters are about to shut down. Everything's horrible. Studios are losing money left and right. Everyone is losing money left and right. So every movie is gonna do not great next year. That's my anticipation, because every movie has to come out next year. We're not gonna get many 2020 releases, and the ones we get probably won't be very successful. People aren't interested in going back to the theaters, not interested in risking their lives, as we've seen with the recent underperformance of Tenet at the box office. Tenet started out okay, but then didn't do very well after that. So Tenet is an indication the movie industry isn't ready to reopen, and that will result in movies being pushed to 21, making that release schedule so crowded it will be unbelievably crowded, and so every movie will be cannibalizing each other, and therefore probably every movie is going to underperform from where it should have. I do think that Black Widow being up against Godzilla vs Kong isn't a terribly big deal, although I do think Black Widow will be the strongest of the Marvel competitors to go up against Godzilla vs Kong. I don't think it's going to be this big Endgame, you know, Endgame really damaged every movie that came after it. I don't think it's going to be anything like that. It's not that big. It's bigger than the other Marvel movies such as Eternal and Shang-Chi, but it's not that big, okay? So I don't think Black Widow is going to be eating into Godzilla vs Kong's box office a terrible amount 2 weeks later. Fast 9 is what worries me, because those movies, the Fast movies, they dominate, okay? They are incredibly high-grossing films, both in the States and especially in China, and that's where the MonsterVerse does a lot of its business. The MonsterVerse thrives in the Chinese market, and so having Fast and Furious go up against Godzilla in the Chinese market is a terrible thing. I don't know which one they're gonna pick, probably Fast and Furious. We'll just have to see. I hope that every movie does at least good enough. And that's really all we can hope for at this point, is that hopefully Godzilla vs Kong does good enough. A lot of people wonder, why don't they just put it on VOD and streaming? The reason why is because it will lose all of its money. They're not going to make anything back initially. You know, the way subscriptions work is based on bringing new people into the service. So if they were to put it on HBO Max right away, which they wouldn't, they would have to bring in tons of new subscribers specifically for that movie. That's just not going to happen, okay? So don't expect that to occur. That'd be a terrible plan. If they put it on HBO Max, it will die right there. The MonsterVerse will die, the movie will bomb. And then if they release it on VOD, well, they've tried that with some other movies recently, and there's only been one success so far, and that's Troll World Tour, and Troll World Tour only had a successful opening. The movie underperformed, as indicated by the fact that Universal was unwilling to share the box office results for that movie. Scoob, Bill and Ted, and Milan all failed when they released on VOD, and I know Milan was a bit of a different situation, but they all failed to release at home. There is no way to release a movie nowadays. All of those movies underperformed. I'm telling you, there's no way to release Godzilla vs Kong right now. And some people think, whatever, it's going to be the end of the MonsterVerse anyways. Who cares? Just put out the movie for the fans. Take the L. You don't understand how the business works, so don't try and have conversations about how the business works, okay? Just sit back, let the people who know what they're doing do what they're doing, okay? Relax, be patient. That's on you. You need to be patient. And also, no, I don't want to like spill the beans here, but no, this isn't supposed to be the end of the MonsterVerse, okay? There are plans for something after Godzilla vs Kong. Do I think those plans are going to be fully realized now? Probably not, just because of the COVID situation. Had COVID not happened, I absolutely think the MonsterVerse would have survived beyond Godzilla vs Kong. Legendary, Warner Bros, and Toho are very interested in continuing the MonsterVerse post Godzilla vs Kong, as long as, and here's the caveat that we've been talking about for the past year now, as long as Godzilla vs vs. Kong does well at the box office, and I think it would have if COVID didn't hit. So because COVID hit, I'm more inclined to agree with people that, yeah, this will probably be the end of the MonsterVerse. But had this not happened, and if they play their cards right, I don't think that has to be the case, and you know, it very well might not be, as we'll talk about a little later. So that's the whole situation with that. I know it's a mess. Don't expect advertising to start anytime soon, especially given these new movie delays to May 2021. I fully anticipate at this point Godzilla vs. Kong will get delayed at least one more time, along with every other Warner Bros. Movie, in order to get the Warner Bros. 2020 movies out of 2020 and into 2021. That's what I'm expecting here. So, you know, it's just a complete mess. I'm sorry, guys. It really is a complete mess, but that's what we have to deal with at the moment. Gormuru Island did some deep digging and found a bunch of behind the scenes photos for Godzilla vs. Kong. They actually came across some very interesting information, so I want to run through what they found here. They found a bunch of pictures from the location photos, so there's a bunch of location photos for this movie that I have never seen. A few pictures with cast members such as Kyle Chandler and Millie Bobby Brown. A bunch of celebration photos from the cast and crew about wrapping production on Godzilla vs. Kong, including some Godzilla vs. Kong cakes, which is awesome, I have to say. That's incredible. But yeah, there's a bunch of celebration that the movie has wrapped, and then there are some post-production images. One of them is, I can't quite tell, maybe like a wallpaper? I don't know exactly what this image is supposed to be representative of. But it's Madison Russell, as a lot of people have identified. I don't know, it's a silhouette, but a lot of people say it's Madison Russell in front of, some people think rain. I, as well as many others, think that it's Kong's fur. So it kind of looks like Madison Russell silhouetted in front of Kong's fur here. I don't know. It's kind of a nothing picture. I don't think it means anything for the actual movie. I just think it's like a little wallpaper picture that was put together. There's also an image of Kong, a Kong render. I don't know if it's the 2020 Kong render or what, but there's a Kong render standing in front of a cartoon city with cartoon effects going off. A lot of people think that that is a pre-post-production picture, like a pre-design picture for post-production. I've never seen anything like that in special effects before, so I'm gonna say that's not what it is. It's probably just a silly little picture put together to celebrate the fact that Godzilla vs. Kong VFX are done. Officially confirmed, Godzilla vs. Kong is done. It's in the can. I don't know if the soundtrack is done, but the VFX are done, and by most sources, by most accounts that we have found so far, including the accounts that Gormuru Island has discovered, post-production appears to be done. The movie is wrapped, ready to go. All that needs to happen now is a suitable position to release it in a box office that will sustain a blockbuster. Expect that to come mid to late 2021 at the earliest. So there you go, lots of craziness there, and now the craziest headline of all, a Godzilla vs. Kong TV show. This has been reported by We've Got This Covered, okay? We've Got This Covered is not a reliable source. I'm gonna say this right off the bat. I'm gonna discredit them before we continue this discussion, just so you know. The article that reported this is not reliable at all. We've Got This Covered has been wrong almost every step of the way that I have seen personally about the MonsterVerse. Now, they have been right about other things in the past, but by the vast majority of accounts, We've Got This Covered is looked at as a joke. So take that with what you will. Continuing this discussion, we will talk about what their article says and then talk about some sources of potential reliability along with it, okay? So in their article, they talk about how Godzilla vs. Kong will be the determining factor in the MonsterVerse due to King of the Monsters' underperformance. That is a fact. Godzilla vs. Kong's box office is key to what will happen next. According to them, if the movie does well, then a TV show will spawn from it. They also talk about how Godzilla vs. Kong was delayed back in March due to a horrible test screening that resulted in extensive reshoots. So they're talking about the delay from March to November 2020. This happened, I believe, back in December. I don't know where they got that information. Godzilla vs. Kong never had a test screening back in December or any time in 2019 that we know of. There's no indication that I have ever seen that has actual solid proof that Godzilla vs. Kong had a test screening back in 2019. As far as we are aware, Godzilla vs. Kong has only had 1 or 2 test screenings in 2020 that were resounding successes with overwhelmingly positive results, so much so that Wanda Group, the company that owns maybe Legendary, don't really remember, the company that owns a big stake in the MonsterVerse, celebrated in China with some promotional videos about how well the test screenings did. That is confirmed. Even the director, Adam Wingard, broke silence on the movie to say that the test screenings were a success. So where they got this idea that the movie had to be delayed due to a terrible test screening that resulted in extensive reshoots, I don't know. I don't know where that comes from. They even reported that back in December. I made a video on it back in December saying I didn't think it was going to happen. It didn't happen. There were no extensive reshoots. Reshoots did start in January, but they were not extensive. They were minor reshoots done with a second unit. They weren't even the first unit. No principal actors returned as far as we are aware, so it was really nothing special at all. According to the article, HBO Max is looking to boost subscribers and are in need of pre-existing franchises in order to bring people in. So HBO Max, for those of you who don't know, is Warner Bros. New streaming service. It launched to an underwhelming start. It is not quite a failure, but it really isn't doing well at all. The streaming service needs a lot of support. This is true, and it is true that HBO Max is looking at, and Warner Bros., taking pre-existing franchises and turning them into TV shows or turning them into exclusive events on HBO Max to get people in. So I do think that's entirely possible, and I genuinely believe that they probably have had conversations about, okay, let's develop a MonsterVerse TV show. What would that look like, having a MonsterVerse TV show on HBO Max? I truly believe that they might have had that conversation. I don't believe that the sources who talked to We've Got This Covered confirmed that. I just think that that's probably just common sense for them. They have probably had that discussion. It's not that hard to guess. Whether they said, yeah, let's do it, or, it's not worth it. I have no idea. There's no way of knowing. I just think that they probably have discussed it and either threw out the idea right away, or maybe they were like, yeah, let's see what we can do with that, and maybe they're tinkering around with it. The idea of a MonsterVerse TV show isn't anything new. As some of you guys know, Michael Dougherty back in 2019 during an interview discussed a MonsterVerse TV show. He was asked if he would be willing to return to the MonsterVerse to make a War of the Gargantuas remake, and he responded by saying, although he's a massive fan of the Gargantuas, he's much more interested in exploring a MonsterVerse live-action TV show. He says that he would want his version to be different timelines and different time periods, specifically focused around the Hollow Earth civilization, showing how they found the ability to coexist with Titans and form symbiotic relationships with them. He is very interested in the historical aspect of the MonsterVerse. Also in that interview, he confirms that he considers Rodan to be an underdog of the fandom because people are constantly downplaying his successes, and they're never really wanting to admit that he's their favorite, or no one really ever thinks that he's the best. Which I find ironic because Rodan was kind of, trashed on in King of the Monsters. Although he was awesome, he got beaten by everybody he came in contact with. Either way, Michael Dougherty has expressed interest in a MonsterVerse TV show. There's been a lot of fan rumbling for a anime in the MonsterVerse coming out. That could be really cool. I'm totally down to see either an anime or a live-action MonsterVerse TV show focused around Monarch and G-Team in particular, going around fighting monsters, discovering Titans. I think it could be awesome. I would absolutely love to see that. So I'm gonna say I would be totally on board to sign up for HBO Max had they greenlit a MonsterVerse TV show, but the facts are they haven't. This is most likely just BS spread by this clickbait website in order to get you excited for nothing so that they can make money. I'm gonna say nothing's gonna happen at the moment, although I will say once again, if Godzilla vs Kong does well enough, I absolutely believe that more MonsterVerse is to come. Whether that takes the form of a TV show, I have no idea. If it's gonna be another movie, I don't know. I don't actually know. So there you go, guys. It's a big discussion for this one. Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I will see you guys next time for the next one. D-Man out. What? You never watched my 66 years of Godzilla tribute? You know it's posted, right? I'm not supposed to give my opinion, but go check it out. And then you can tell me if you like it or not.